What's up, you guys? Oh my gosh, so I'm gonna dual live stream, see what happens. Alright, sweet. So we're dual live streaming on Facebook and on Instagram at the same time. What? Basically, I purchased this fun little holster thing a long time ago and was waiting for the proper moment to see if it would work. So it is. So hey, everybody, as you're jumping on, say what's up. Man. So I just had a quick message. It kind of came to mind earlier today when I caught myself, like, not apologizing, but like justifying something. And I was like, motherfuck, like, we do that. We all do that too often. I don't know if I'm seeing comments. I might not be, but anyways, still comment. Tell me hello. Let me know that you're here. It's just, okay, so here's what happens. And I just wanted to make a mental note to everybody. So I've talked about this before, I feel like, but today I recorded like a little what's it called? Story on Instagram, right? And I was showing these like badass pants that I just got. If you haven't seen it, you can go watch it. But in the middle of that, I caught myself going, oh my gosh, I'm so bloated. Don't judge me, right? And so the truth is that, like, I have been working very diligently to become really comfortable with the way that I have changed my body this past year, in a good way, because it's just different. And so, like, wearing crop tops and like doing those types of things, even though I feel really different in my own skin, is like been super healing for me. But that's not my point. I caught myself making that statement and being like, wait, what the fuck? And here's why I stopped myself and felt stupid, was because my entire life I have been told things like, oh, it must be nice to be skinny. It must be nice to do this. It must be nice to whatever. And I almost would feel like I needed to be shameful of the fact of like my physique, right? And so I think we all have that thing that maybe we're really good at, or that we have different than other people, or whatever it might be. And like in that process, like we feel guilty about it, right? And we kind of just like try our best to tone it down so that we don't get those ignorant ass comments. And that's the part that I wanted to talk about, is it's like we minimize each other's experiences so much more than I think we realize. And so, example, when I'm like, I'm bloated, to other people, they're like, fuck, your stomach looks great, blah, blah, blah. I didn't say that it didn't. All I was getting at was that it was different, that it is different than it normally is. Y'all know me, like I post pictures all the time. Like you've seen what my body looks like most of the time, but again, I'm human. And so everybody has their moments, like after you eat, when you wake up, when you're at the time of the month, like whatever it is, like our bodies fluctuate. It doesn't look fucking picture perfect all the time. Also because like there's posing involved, flexing involved, things like that. And so as I was sitting there reflecting, and I also got some messages on Instagram about this, about the stomach thing, I was like, wait a minute, you guys missed the point. Like, no, I shouldn't have apologized for that. It came naturally out of my mouth. But the minimization of someone else's experience fucking sucks, okay? Like, have you ever went to share something that bothered you or that you were insecure about, and someone meets you with a, yeah, well, what about this? Like, my day was worse than yours, or my stomach's fatter than yours, or whatever it might be. And it's just like, bro, like, wait a minute, it wasn't about that. And of course I know that it's always the other person. It's up to that other person, or it's about that other person, I should say, more than it is about you. But it sucks, and it hurts and it makes people feel like they can't or shouldn't share things about themselves in the way that they may want to. And so I just wanted to make a quick note of like paying attention that when someone is talking about anything with you, how do you respond? Like, do you listen? Do you ask questions? Or are you in that space of like, well, it must be nice, or my day was worse, or my food was better, or my this, like you're one-upping someone, or like, well, what if it was this way? And instead of just acknowledging someone else's fucking experience. we minimize people's experiences way more frequently than we recognize. And dude, it's damaging. It's not good for either party is what I'm getting at. Like, that's a shitty thing for you to do, and that's a shitty thing for me to feel, right? And so, like, I remember as I was talking about, like, losing some of my strength and my muscle, and I had a friend, a very close friend of mine, respond with, well, whatever, I'd still trade my flabby stomach, you know, from having all these babies or whatever it was, with your non-muscular stomach as you're complaining. And I was like, I wasn't complaining. First of all, I was making a note. And then I was like, you know what? Like, that made me feel like shit about myself. Because I was like, wait a minute. So you're going to minimize my experience. We live very two different lives. Like, that's the other thing I want you to think about. Like, we've made different choices in our lives. We live very differently. Like, my choices have led me one place without things that you have, and vice versa. And your choices have led you elsewhere with things that I don't have or do have or whatever. We live different experiences, and I think that unless we can recognize that, like, we have to look further than the tip of our own noses when we're interacting. Like, how crazy. We're not all that small-minded, right? Like, we're not all that, I mean, I hope not, that we're not all that disconnected or self-absorbed to not recognize that someone else sharing their experience with you really doesn't have anything to do with you at all. Like, as far as, you know, it's not yours to then criticize and judge. Is this making sense, you guys? Like, let me know if it's making sense. It's just bizarre to me, like, you know, saying I would trade you my flabby, loose skin on my stomach any day for your flat stomach. And I'm like, yeah, but you made babies with that belly, dude. Like, I'm not saying that you need to be 100%, you know, happy about the way that it looks right now, but at the same time, like, we've lived two very different lives. We've made different choices. Like, I don't drink, I work out, I haven't had children, none of which is right or wrong from either side. These are just different choices that have been made, you know? And so, like, how fucking dare any of us judge the other person who's lived a completely different lifestyle than we have? You know what I mean? Like, of course we're not gonna have the same outcome. We're different freaking people, right? My biggest thing 100% right now is just to say, my whole point of this whole little share moment, other than the fact that I was really enjoying my makeup and wanted to be live today, the whole point of the share really was to just say we have to quit minimizing other people's experiences because they look different than ours. Like, it's like we try to validate ourselves. Oh, hey, Ryan, I'm rocking your shirt today, babe. I love this shirt. So it's like we try to validate ourselves by bringing or speaking down about someone else's experience. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, how is in any way do we feel like that's a good thing to do, right? Like, no. The exchange there makes no sense at all. And it's just the fact that, like, our validation needs to come from here, not from out here, and not from, you know, saying that there's something wrong with someone else or whatever, you know, it may be. So that was my biggest thing, is that if we can stop minimizing other people's experiences, because you know what I'm talking about. Like, you've been there, someone's done it to you, and it does not feel good, and it sucks. And you'll sit there and be like, okay, well, never mind. I guess I shouldn't share my own freaking reality, you know? Yes, thank you, Alicia. I appreciate that. There's that, like, my reality is different than yours, but what does that mean? That neither one of them, like, one is better or more real or whatever than the other? No, like, not at all. That's not the way that we roll. And so if people can just start to understand a little bit more of other people's experience and not minimize it and just listen or be a friend or whatever it may be, then I am going to do that, Alicia, thank you. I really am. Is that there's a blog post up kicking in that statement, but it's really just recognizing that there's, like, we want to be better for each other and just feel better ourselves, and you get what you put out there, right? So if you stop treating other people that way and you stop minimizing their experience and their reality because it doesn't match your own, or maybe it makes you uncomfortable, or it makes you see something in yourself that you're not super pleased with, like, if you can start to recognize that and shift that, first of all, that compassion is contagious and that energy is contagious. And the more of that goodness you put out there, the more of it you get back. So win-wins all the way around, my friends. So that was my message for today. I just wanted to share that. I'm so stoked that I'm live both places at the same time. It's pretty exciting. So everybody who's watching, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here as always. If you like the video, thumbs up, hearts, and if you think someone else could benefit from the message, as always, please feel free to share it with anybody, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye!